Well, that rumor mill is swirling, and boy, are we going to talk about that today. If you're new to the channel, my name's John, this is Cine Park Rangers, and here we talk all things movies and theme parks. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and click that subscribe button, click like on the video, share it, comment, all those sorts of things. They help a ton. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to talk about Zelda today. Not something that we would typically cover on this channel, but there are a few different things that have happened over the past couple months, few weeks, and even just this past week in terms of rumors that get me really excited, and it also just paves a way to bridge another gap. Like I mentioned, we talk about movies and theme parks here, but when those things also happen to cross over with a video game, you bet we're going to talk about it. So Zelda, it's a video game that came out originally on the Famicom system in 1986, and it's also a game that I never found myself playing a whole ton. That's not to say that the games are bad or that they aren't good, but it is to say that it just never caught my attention or interest. But I think that there's something to be said overall just about Zelda as an IP and how well it's doing right now. Obviously, the past few years have been pretty insane for Zelda just because we got Breath of the Wild in 2017 and we just recently got Tears of the Kingdom this past year. Breath of the Wild I have played through and I enjoyed a lot. I only played through it because when I was buying my Switch back at the time, the guy at GameStop was like, "Hey, have you played Breath of the Wild on anyone else's Switch?" And I was like, "No, I haven't." And he was like, "Have you heard about it?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I have heard about this game." And he said, "Okay, so you know you have to play it then." And I was like, "Well, I guess if you're telling me I have to, I probably should pick it up." So picked up a used copy, decided that I would give it a chance, and I fell in love with it. It's one of those things that sort of transcended my understanding of what video games were. The open world thing is something that I've always loved since I was a kid. I played that original Spider-Man 2 video game. Y'all know which one I'm talking about. Like, the swinging mechanics were super good for the time, and all the new Spider-Man games have really done is just improve on that system. So the open world thing is not foreign to me. However, I do remember playing things like Grand Theft Auto or even Skyrim and feeling overwhelmed. So the idea of playing an open world Zelda game was not super appealing, but the difference between those games and Zelda is the whimsy and sort of the magic that goes along with it. I really loved it kind of right off the bat, which was weird for me. I'm not much of a gamer. It's not my thing. I enjoy narrative stuff, which is why I like talking about movies, and also why I enjoy talking about theme parks, because a lot of those things coincide with a through line narrative that gets you from point A to point B, and if it's done well, you get taken on a journey that you get to sit with and sort of stew in for a little while, and I love that. Video games can do that, and especially lately they can do that even more so. So at any rate, Zelda Breath of the Wild was the first one that I played all the way through and really, really liked. The new one, Tears of the Kingdom, I have about probably 5 or 6 hours in total, maybe even a little less, and that's mostly just because I'm married, I have a kid, and I do this and also work full time. So it's just a lot. There's a lot of things happening in my life that prevent me from maybe sitting down and putting in the hours into a Zelda game that I was able to back in college. But it is also one that I plan on finishing. So with that, now that we've covered sort of the game part of Zelda, its origins, if you will, I would like to go ahead and talk about this new Zelda movie that's coming out. So the movie's going to be directed by Wes Ball. Wes Ball is sort of a weird choice, but it's a less weird choice if you understand where they're maybe coming from on it. It's not something that obviously I have any insider info on or anything like that, but the team surrounding this Zelda movie is weird. Wes Ball directed the Maze Runner movies, right? And those came out, I don't even remember, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. No. It's been longer than that. Oh man, I'm old. How long ago was it? 10 years ago. Sheesh. Anyway, Wes Ball directed those Maze Runner movies, which were fine. And I actually really enjoyed the first one. I don't even remember if I saw the second one or the third one, if there even is a third one. I didn't really think much of it. That was in the era where we were adapting like every, tween/teen novel that came out. Sort of started with Harry Potter. We sort of got some Narnia stuff in there. We got some really bad Percy Jackson movies. And then, yeah, we got Maze Runner, we got Divergent, we got Twilight. Twilight is a cult classic, and I'll die on that hill. So there's plenty of adaptations that were happening like that back in the day. And none of the directors that directed any of those were anyone of, supreme notoriety or anything. It's not like you had Steven Spielberg going in and directing Divergent.
Thank you for that.
So fast forward to last year, 2023, and I find out that Wes Ball is actually the guy that's in charge of this new Apes movie, which is pretty cool. And the trailer has me interested, to say the least. I think it looks pretty cohesive with the ones that Matt Reeves did back in the day. Was that also 10 years? Probably. I'm not even going to look. So that gives me some hope, Maybe now that he's done that and done the Maze Runner movies, he really knows what it takes to craft a full-blown blockbuster film, which is apparently what this Zelda movie is going to be. I think I, along with many people, anticipated Nintendo to go a route with Zelda if they were going to adapt it to film that would be similar but different to what they did with the Super Mario Brothers movie. Of course, Super Mario's went on to gross over $1 billion worldwide, and I think that movie was made for like $40 million, so it had a really good return. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that it was animated. It gives you some wiggle room budget-wise to hire maybe some good voice talent and all those sorts of things, right? I've heard that a lot of people would have liked to see this Zelda movie adapted in a way similar to how Studio Ghibli goes about animating their films. A Zelda movie that looks like Ghibli probably would work really well. I think Hyrule, which is just the land, if you're unfamiliar with Zelda, that's the land that Link and Princess Zelda and Ganon are all in and all, protecting, fighting over, whatever. So I think that land lends itself well to that animation style. But hold your horses, because they're going live action with this thing. I've seen memes, there's memes of like Tom Holland as Link, which is just, it's silly, leave Tom Holland alone. But it does beg the question, what would that even look like? How would you adapt it? All those sorts of things, right? Because Hyrule isn't like Middle Earth or Westeros. It's not the same sort of thing. So you have to do it in a way that's going to continue capturing the whimsy and magic that I was talking about earlier that's so prevalent through the games. And I found actually some of these like AI generated images that looked really cool. I'm going to just put them on the screen now. And it gave me a little bit of hope as to how maybe this could shake out and look. They seem pretty cool. But who knows how this is going to actually shake out as a movie, because the team behind it is weird. Already mentioned Wes Ball. It's written by Derek Connolly, whose writing credits include the Jurassic World franchise, Kong Skull Island, and Rise of Skywalker. Guys. And it's produced by Avi Arad, who did all of the Spider-Man stuff all the way from like the Tobey movies to now. And that does unfortunately include both Venom movies. I know some people like those. I tend to think that they're just terrible. I wish they would have went R-rated with Venom. But those, the new Morbius movie, the new Madam Web movie, the new Craven movie, he's got a hand in all of that. And not only has a hand in it, but is pushing hard for it. Again, I say to you, Joe Hartwick Jr. also has a producing credit, and of course, Mr. Miyamoto himself has a producing credit. And I think that overall, it could be fine. Maybe it'll be fine. Maybe Avi Arad, apart from Spider-Man, will do wonders and it'll be great. It does give me hope that Miyamoto is attached to this as a producer. I think he was for the Super Mario Brothers movie as well, and ultimately that Mario Brothers movie is really fun. There's something to be said for having the guy that sort of helms all of these creations a part of your movies. You need that. It's necessary. He's probably going to have a level of creative control over the Zelda movie that wasn't present like how maybe Stan Lee would have been in those earlier Spider-Man movies. It's just one of those things that gives me pause, but I will reserve judgment until it actually happens. I would love for it to be awesome. It looks questionable. Which leads me to my next point. Theme parks. Come on, guys. This is a movie and theme park channel. What did you think? We were going to just talk about the movies and not cover any of the theme park stuff. That's the whole reason we're here, right? It's the whole reason we're here. We gotta blend it. We gotta talk about both. So obviously, Universal Studios has Epic Universe opening in 2025. That is 1 year away, now, and it will be home to Super Nintendo World. But this past week, we got word that there's going to be other video game properties going to both Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios, the main park, which is super freaking cool, right? I can't believe that Universal is paying attention to what fans want and sort of how they've been talking about just molding these parks into something that people want to stay at longer. That's always been the thing with Universal, is like the two parks, you can kind of do them in a couple days. The water park, unless you're a Florida local, you're probably not going to that. I mean, I could be completely off base here. Maybe some of y'all that visit Universal Studios, you go for a whole week and man, 3 of your 4 days is the water parks. But I don't see that happening very often. It's never been my experience. I've never even been to the water parks, and I've been to Universal several times. But all that to say, there is a rumor that Lost Continent will be taken over by Zelda. And this is not a new rumor, mind you. This has been around since before I even started this channel. I remember going to Universal earlier last year in 2023, right after they closed Poseidon's Fury, literally 2 days, 3 days after they closed Poseidon's Fury. And the only attraction left in the Lost Continent was that little fountain that talks. You know what I'm talking about? He's really silly.
Always stay in school, or else you could end up being a talking fountain the rest of your life.
It's fun. But the more that I was walking around that week before I went, I started seeing, ooh, they're going to turn Lost Continent into Zelda. Or what if they turn Lost Continent into Zelda? That could be cool. That could be neat, right? And yes, it totally could. So Orlando Park Shop, which is just a random site that I found that had some info on these rumors, reported that people are speculating that there's going to potentially be an indoor boat ride taking the place of Poseidon's Fury, that there could be potentially an outdoor smaller coaster taking the place of the Sinbad stunt show that used to exist a few years ago, whatever it was. I can't remember when they closed that one down. And that a retheme of the Mythos restaurant will be coming to that land as well. And they're retheming it to the Deku Tree. All really fun speculation, all really fun ideas. I think that any one of these, if one of them is true, if the Zelda theming in general is true, that's a huge win, right, for Universal. There is nothing in that Lost Continent that I think people are going to be missing, if that makes sense. Even when we walked through, I was a little bummed that we were going to miss Poseidon's Fury just by a couple of days, because I actually never went in and did that one. But at the same time, I watched some ride-throughs, and it's one of those attractions that just, it's fine. You know, it was fine. It was old, and it's time for something new. So I think that it warrants talking about some more of the video game stuff that is rumored to be coming to Universal as well, like the main Universal Studios park. And that's the Simpsons land getting completely scrapped, which makes sense because Disney owns Simpsons and has for a while now. And they're not going to renew that license, basically, is what people are saying. And they're going to replace it with Pokemon. Which, again, dude, huge win for Universal. Are you kidding me? All this stuff, as far as I can tell, has never been as popular as it is today. Pokemon has been popular for a very, very long time. I grew up with it. I remember it well. It wasn't something that I ever got into a whole ton as a kid. I got into more like Yu-Gi-Oh! When the cards were a big thing. But I had plenty of friends that played the games and loved the show. I saw the Detective Pikachu movie, thought it was fun enough. I don't know, it's just one of those IPs that people go bananas over, and it's going to drive a lot of traffic back to that Universal main park, which is kind of what they've needed. They need some more stuff like that. I selfishly would love for there to be more love for the original movies that Universal sort of themed everything off of to begin with. It's what made me fall in love with movies. But you can't negate the fact that Nintendo is an absolute powerhouse. So anything Zelda related, anything Pokemon related, anything that involves Mario or Luigi, there's rumors that Luigi's Mansion will be going to Epic Universe a little later than everything else. Craziness, Like, it's just, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's really, really cool going to Universal. And I don't want to end this video without saying, and what does Disney have? Because, man, their slate is fairly blank. outside of Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which is just a reskin of Splash Mountain, and apparently a lesser one, they're getting rid of like a ton of animatronics. I love Princess and the Frog, and I would love for there to be an amazing Princess and the Frog attraction. I think the problem is with this one, they're not putting the love, care, and attention into it that they probably should. But I just wanted to end on a note that was at least acknowledging the fact that Universal very much looks like it's going to be the tentpole park company in potentially a year, which is bizarre because it's never happened before. Disney's always been the king. Universal has always been second to them. And it's looking like that's about to flip-flop for sure. And Disney's got to do something. Disney pumps a lot of money into their overseas parks, which is fine, but they need to start funneling some of that money into their American parks. They need love too. And they could really do some great stuff. And it's not that Disney's bad. I still enjoy going for sure. But for what you pay, especially compared to Universal, it's just exuberant. There's no dancing around it. And with that, I just want to ask you guys what you think about all of the Zelda stuff. Zelda is transcending itself as an IP, even for Nintendo and by Nintendo standards. It's becoming bigger probably than they ever thought it would be. And it's neat to see that happen. I love to see it happen. I want to see more stuff like that happen. But what do you guys think? Are you excited for Zelda potentially taking over Lost Continent? Are you excited for a Zelda film to come out in the next couple of years? Are you excited for more Zelda games, which I'm certain are coming? Let me know down in the comments. And again, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, like, comment, share. All those things help a ton. We've got a bunch of new subscribers. I would love to see you guys engaging with these videos. Let me know down in the comments what kind of content you'd like to see more of. I'm always listening. This is still a baby channel. We're still only about 30 videos in, and I would love to know what you guys want to see more of. So let me know. Thanks for watching as always, and I hope you have a fantastic day.